Hey guys, this is Jeff, and I'm going to go over how to get the artwork ready for the 8-foot diameter by 42-inch tall circle Skybox trade show hanging sign. And so to start off with, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to drag the Photoshop template into Photoshop. And so as it opens up, this is actually going to be the full size. So this is as if it's already printed out, and this will wrap all the way around the outside of the frame. And so couple things before we get started here. The first one is you want to make sure that it's in Cmyk mode. So you can see up here, here's Cmyk. And if it's not, for some reason, you can switch it over. So you can go to image and then mode, and then make sure that Cmyk color is selected here. The next thing you want to do is you want to make sure to keep this as its own separate layer. And that's because when you're all done designing, you're actually going to delete it or hide it because you don't want to actually print out this template. You just want to be left with your artwork. But in the meantime, this is actually going to be what you can use to design literally right on top of. And if I zoom in here, you'll actually notice that there is some bleed on the top here and on the bottom. And this is going to be where it gets printed out and then cut and stitched and sewn. And so you want to extend it. Let's say you have a background color and it's red. You can go ahead and extend the background all the way into the bleed to the very outer edges on the top and the bottom. But anything important like text or anything you don't want too close to the edge, like your logo, make sure it's at least a couple inches away from that line. And so background, you extend all the way. Logos, text, anything, keep away from the edges. So you can begin adding everything in, and you can do that by going to File and Place. And here is my logo, and I can go ahead and add this in. Now my logo is in vectored format, so as I scale this to a very big size, right, because remember this is a full-size template, it's not going to get pixelated or pulled apart. And so you're going to want to use a vectored logo, usually .eps or an Adobe Illustrator file, or sometimes even a PDF. But check with your designer and make sure that you have that, because if it's just a JPEG, then it could be pixelated by the time you scale it to full size. So as I have it pulled in here, it's really small, so I need to go ahead and scale it. And what I do is I need a Constrain Proportions, so I click and hold down Shift. Then I grab a corner with my mouse, and I can just pull it to get it to the size that I want. And so we can go right about there. And then I can actually move it over to position. So let's start with the left-hand side here. And that looks about right. And I'm going to have this repeat twice. Now with the circle, you can actually have the logo repeat as many times as you want going all the way around. It's not as clear how many times you can have it printed out like it is with the square. Usually with a square you have 4 sides, and so your logo's 4 on each side. But with a circle, it can be just whatever looks right. Keep in mind that the logo, like the proportions of your logo, how wide and how tall it is, will also determine how it's going to look on the template and what size hanging sign you want to select. But anyways, here is the logo on the template, and now I can duplicate it by just going right-clicking on the logo layer and go to duplicate layer. And now I can use the move tool and I can just drag it over. So here we go. So this is just an example to give you an idea. So anyways, this will be repeated twice going all the way around. And what I can do is I can then save this as the working layered file at this point. So I can go to File and Save As, and you want to save the Photoshop file so that if, in case you need to go back and make any changes or any adjustments, you have that file that you can edit. Because at this point, we're going to go ahead and get it ready to save it as the print ready file. And to do that, first thing I'm going to do is make sure that the resolution looks good. We want to double check that. And the way you can do that is by pressing Control and plus on a PC or Command and plus on a Mac. And you can zoom all the way in until about 1 inch equals 1 inch on your screen. So here's my ruler bar. Here's 126 inches. Here's 127. That's about 1 inch in real life. And so I can use the navigator tool now to kind of comb all over it, and it looks good, looks nice and crisp. So now we're ready to go ahead and get it ready to save. So zoom all the way back out, Control minus on a PC or Command N minus on a Mac. And now we're at the step where we can either hide or just delete the background layer altogether. I usually just drag it into the trash can. So now we're just left with our artwork. We're ready to go ahead and save it, but the first thing you want to do is flatten it. You just want to lock everything in place. It's a more manageable file to upload, and it's also going to make sure that it locks it in place so that what you see on your screen is going to be the same thing we see on our screen. You can do that by going to Layer at the top here and then click Flatten Image. And that's just going to compress everything together, and this is going to be the print ready document. So now you're ready to go ahead and save it, and you can go to File and Save As. And usually in the drop down, this is going to be such a big file that it doesn't give you as many options. So usually PDF is not an option, but that's okay. We can use the large document format, the .psb file, which is the large format file for Photoshop. And that's actually going to be fine. So we can just say hanging sign, print ready, whatever you want to name it. And then you can go ahead and just click save. And that is actually going to be the file that's used to print off of, and it will have really good results if you follow these guidelines. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Check the show notes for the product page, template, and everything else you'll need. So thanks a lot. Talk to you soon.